Hey, yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Smart TCG. I've been away for quite some time. I've been playing in multiple regional championships, and I most recently just got top 8 at the most recent Dortmund regional championships in Germany that happened this past weekend. There were over 1,300 players, and I was able to place 6th with Gardevoir, and today I'm going to be going over my list, some of my matchups, and just, kind of overall thought processes behind why I played specific cards and stuff like that. This was the very first major tournament with Paldean Fates legal, which is largely a reprint set, but there are a couple of brand new cards like Crisis Punch and also Moonlit Hill that did get a little bit of talk and were played in some of these day 2 and top cut lists. So first off, I'm gonna go over the deck list here. One of the nice things about Limitless just updated this recently, so you can now view it like this. So this is the list that I ended up playing here, the Gardevoir list. Pretty standard. There are a couple of interesting cards that I decided to play in specific counts that might surprise some of you, so today I'm going to go over those. We got the standard 4-3-1 Kirlia line, 4 of the 70 HP Ralts. I did consider one memory skip. Memory skip can come up sometimes versus Miraidon. You can memory skip their amp you very much on their Iron Hands, and you can potentially buy yourself a turn. Sometimes comes up versus Charizard, but I was happy I ended up playing the 70 HP ones, especially due to Iron Valiant's presence in this tournament. So Teleportation Burst, just overall, very, very solid. Then the 3-1 Kirlia split, 2 Arcana, 2 Gardevoir EX, 1 Screamtail, 1 Jirachi. We saw, I believe, James Cox's list did not play Jirachi. They just opted for Manaphy. I decided to keep the Jirachi, and really helps out against those Lost Zone Toolbox decks, and also can be helpful versus things like the Mirror Match, being able to stop their Cresselia. We got 1 Manaphy as well with that Wave Veil, very good against things like Radiant Greninja. Also Mirror Match, just very, very important to have in the deck. 1 Zacian V1 Radiant Greninja, and 1 Mew. Now, the big card that is not in this list is Cresselia. The reason why I decided not to play Cresselia is, yes, it helps in Mirror and a couple other situations. However, a lot of games, it's just kind of a dead card. And with there being over 1,300 players, this is a massive tournament. There's a chance that these cards that are hypothetically good are not going to necessarily come up every single game. So the reason behind as to why I didn't play Cresselia was just more or less consistency. I just wanted to play cards that I kind of felt like I knew I would need every single game, or knew that, could be good every single game. Something like Screamtail. I know some people have been cutting Screamtail. I think Screamtail is really, really good right now. It's good versus the Mirror Match. It's good versus Chen Pao. It's really good against Roaring Moon as well. Anything that benches Squawkabilly is just a really, really good card to have, where Cresselia is specifically good in some matchups. So looking at that major tournament, I just kind of wanted a more consistent card. Another reason why I opted for Mew as well. Some people have been cutting the Mysterious Tail. I decided to keep it just for consistency purposes, because it's really, really good against decks like Roaring Moon, for example. Moving on, we got 4 Iono, 1 Boss's Orders, 1 Worker, 1 Professor Turo Scenario, and 1 Professor's Research. Now, moving into the future, looking at events like Vancouver and Utrecht that will be coming up next month, I probably would add in an Avery or 2, just because of Chen Pao's win most recently at Dortmund, and also Gardevoir becoming such an important mirror match to make sure you have a good matchup against. So the Research could just become an Avery, and the Turo I really, really liked. It's good against things like Roaring Moon to remove your Gardevoir EX. It's good just in random scenarios. It helps you get energy off the board. This was a card that, in theory, doesn't really fix any matchup except for control, but it comes up in random scenarios. Once again, the thought process was, this is going to be a major tournament. I'm going to be playing lots of rounds. I know that there's going to be an opportunity where this card could potentially save me. And it actually saved me, and I think won me 2 or 3 rounds. It was incredibly important. There was a match versus Roaring Moon where I didn't necessarily set up perfectly, and I didn't have enough energy in the discard pile, and I had to Screamtail, so I had 4 energy locked on a Screamtail, and I need the Turo to get those into the discard pile to then be able to attack with the Zacian. So that was something that was, really, really big, just being able to get the energies off the field, because sometimes Gardevoir's energies can get, kind of split up, which is not great. So the Professor Toros was very, very helpful. Moving on into the item cards, we got 4 Level Ball, 3 Ultra Ball, 3 Fog Crystal, and 3 Battle VIP Pass. Now, you might be wondering, wait a minute, why are you playing 3 Battle VIP Pass and not 4? To be honest, Battle VIP Pass is not a necessity in this deck. It's an option. You don't have to play the card. We saw in the other top 8 list, Rowan Stavenau ended up not actually playing Battle VIP Pass. He's been a player that has been consistently performing well with non-Battle VIP Pass Gardevoir. I top 8'd Brisbane Regionals a couple of months ago with non-Battle VIP Pass Gardevoir, so I totally understand the reasons as to why people aren't playing Battle VIP Pass, and I can't fault them for choosing not to play the card. So, you know, with decks like Roaring Moon that have been gaining quite a bit of popularity, I felt like if I prized Mirage Step, my matchup versus that deck wasn't necessarily very good. So having the Battle VIP Pass means that I can prize Mirage Step against these, you know, kind of hyper aggressive decks and still be okay. I think that, yes, if you do pull off Mirage Step successfully without Battle VIP Pass, you just got 3 dead cards in your deck. So, you know, that can be kind of unfortunate. But the main reason why there's not 4 is because Moonlit Hill just came out. Moonlit Hill is a brand new card from Paldean Fates. It has been used in Japan for the past couple of months, and we finally got it in our set, which is really, really cool. And it made it so that I really wanted a 3rd Fog Crystal, because if I want to utilize Moonlit Hill, I need to have Psychic Energies consistently in my hand. So being able to have that extra Fog Crystal just, you know, kind of allowed me to be able to utilize that Moonlit Hill a little bit more. And since Battle VIP Pass is not like a necessity, I think it was a cut that was okay, actually. I think it was an okay cut to have. I originally did kind of fiddle with the idea of cutting down to 3 Level Ball, but I really didn't want to miss Mirage Step. So I decided to keep the 4 Level Ball, and the VIP Pass was really the only cuttable card. So I decided to cut 1 VIP Pass. I never really missed the 4th. I thought the 3 was honestly amazing. And if I do play the Battle VIP Pass version moving forward, I think I'll just play 3. I think the 3 Fog Crystal is really good at getting Psychic in the discard pile, helps out with Moonlit Hill. It's really good against Charizard as well, just because you need to dump energies in the discard pile. This was really, really good. I really wasn't having very many issues getting energies in the discard pile, except for a couple of matches that we'll go into later. Moving on, 2 Counter Catcher, 2 Rare Candy. I believe Ryan Antonucci's list that one. Charlotte Regionals, or actually no, Knoxville Regionals, ended up playing 3 Rare Candy. I thought 2 was okay, especially because Miraidon's going down in popularity. 2 Superon, 1 Artazon, 1 Collapsed Stadium, 1 Moonlit Hill. Cut the Lost Vacuum. Lost Vacuum is decent, but not a necessity in particularly any matchups. Moonlit Hill did serve its purpose in a couple of games. I pulled off this really crazy play versus a Lost Box Roaring Moon deck where I already had a Reversal Energy on my Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and they scratched it for 20, setting up Sableye for KO the next turn, and I was able to go Moonlit Hill, discard, heal the 20, attach a 2nd Reversal Energy, and then Counter Catcher up their Roaring Moon on the bench for 240, which just completely locked the game. So Moonlit Hill is either really good or really bad, but I felt like the games that I was able to use it in, it was very good, and at very worst, it just was an extra path bump. That just was kind of my logic. It's an extra path bump. It's not a card that a lot of other decks are able to utilize. You know, something like Artazon, you know, doesn't necessarily feel very good to put down on the field if you're just trying to bump a path, because a lot of decks can actually use that card. But when it comes to Moonlit Hill, it's, you know, only specifically for Psychic decks, so things that play Sableye or, you know, Gardevoir, for example, are really the only decks that can easily utilize it. So I felt like it necessarily wasn't a bad thing just to toss down on the field if you needed to. And then 10 Psychic Energies, 2 Reversal, pretty standard there. So that's the list I ended up playing. We're going to go over some of my matchups, just kind of how I decided to play them and stuff like that. As I said, ended up getting 6th, went into top cut with a record of 11, 1, and 3. So very, very solid. Started round 1 versus Giratina. They ended up getting a game loss in game 1 due to something happened where they broke the game state unintentionally, and ended up being a game loss. Game 2, I was able to win pretty convincingly. Moving on into Charizard, pretty decent matchup for me. Was able to get off Mirage Step, I believe, and then just kind of ran them over after that. The extra Fog Crystal is really, really big in this matchup because you can more comfortably finish the game off with the Zacian, because you should have enough energy in the discard pile. Moving on here versus Dennis. This was not actually Chen Pao. This was Roaring Moon, I believe. I think they, I don't know if this just must be misreported, but this is Roaring Moon. I won game 1 convincingly. Game 2, I had a really weak setup, and then game 3, I actually was struggling to get energies in the discard pile, but Turo saved me. I had to Screamtail down to 2 prizes, and then my last 2 prizes were going to be quite difficult to take, but Turo was able to completely bail me out, and I was able to Turo the Screamtail, was able to get those energies in the discard pile, benching Zacian to be able to win the game. In this matchup, typically what you want to do is you want to Mirage Step first, and then you want to chase down a 2-prizer. You can either Screamtail, but ideally you want to wait and use Screamtail to finish off the Squawkabilly as your last 2 prizes. So typically go Mirage Step, Arcana KO, and then finish the game off with Screamtail. Things like Turo and Collapsed Stadium can also be used to remove Gardevoir EX from play. If you know, potentially are falling behind a little bit and you need to remove that 2-prize liability to catch back up in the prize trade. Next up is Martin here. They also made day 2. They did pretty solid. This was the match versus Lost Box Roaring Moon. I pretty much just went Mirage Step and then started attacking with Arcana turn after turn. Moonlit Hill was very, very good in that matchup. This was the matchup where I was able to go double reversal, counter catcher Roaring Moon. I believe they started Roaring Moon twice in this set, so wasn't necessarily a very good start for them when it comes to their starter Pokemon, but pretty decent matchup overall if you're just able to get Arcanas going. Next up, I played against Arnie, who was able to get top 8, so congratulations to them. I won a very long game 1, about a probably a 35-minute game 1. Very, very long. I almost conceded, I think, at one point, but I found some lines, was able to attack with Gardevoir EX. I believe I Toroed my EX as well to try and extend the game a little bit longer, run them out of power tablets. That's really what you want to do. Gardevoir EX is your best attacker a lot of times in this matchup because it's so difficult for them to KO. They were playing the fusion package as well, so I had to, you know, try and get the fusions off the field so they couldn't Meloetta KO. And I was able to get game 1. Game 2 never finished. Just was able to 1-0 them. Next up, played against Rune. Rune was one of the strongest seniors over the past couple of years. Very, very successful player, aged up into Masters this year and has been doing very well. Playing in the Gardevoir Mirror. They had Cresselia, I believe, so I wasn't feeling necessarily great, but I was able to find a line in this matchup and was able to win game 1. Pretty much, it just kind of comes down to Ionos over and over again. Chasing Kirlias with things like Screamtail is incredibly important. We pretty much mirrored our starts very early, where we just went Mirage Step, and then they went Cresselia, I went Screamtail, just kind of back and forth, but I was able to pull it out at the very end, was able to, I believe, counter catcher up their, I think they Toroed their Gardevoir and then went down to 1 prize. They had already burned boss's orders, so I believe I counter catchered up their Kirlia on the bench, knocked it out, and they were just left with an Arcana, and they had nothing else. So they were not able to go into EX to finish the game off with Zacian, because they had no way to go into EX, because I KO'd the only Kirlia, because they had Toroed, and then I think they put it back down or something like that, or they didn't have any other rare candy, so they just didn't put down the other Ralts. I forget what happened, but very, very close, and then game 2 just never finished. We pretty much once game 1 was just, it just was so close, I think we both kind of realized that that was the set. If I had lost, I would have gotten 1-0'd, and then if they would have lost, they would have got 1-0'd, so pretty standard there. Next up versus Adelson Jr., a nice person, I believe, from Mexico or South America, one of the two. Very friendly person. Was able to beat them game 1, pretty much kind of similar to the other Lost Box. I just was able to go Mirage Step, and then I started to just hit with Arcana with Reversal over and over again. They didn't get Colress early game really at all in game 1. They still decided to play it out. It just went naturally very long. Gardevoir versus Lost Box goes exceptionally long, so was able to get game 1. Then game 2 just never finished. Game 1 went like 35 minutes. It was quite close still. They went Roxanne, tried to find game and just missed it. And then game 2 just was never able to finish. Next up, we played against Renaud or Renad. I apologize, or Renaud. I apologize if I messed that up. Anyways, we played against Arceus Armarouge. This is a really, really cool deck. They're piloting a pretty cool deck. Armarouge EX reads, if it doesn't have any damage counters on it, it takes 80 less, so it effectively has 340, I think. And then they have the other Armarouge, which allows you to move energies to your active, so it kind of allows you to move your energies around. So their goal is to Trinity Nova onto another Arceus, and then they start to move the energies all around. They have Heatran as well. It doesn't take a great Gardevoir matchup. I was able to pretty much just Mirage Step and knockout pretty consistently. Game 2 was pretty much the same, just rinse repeat, able to set up. They almost got me game 1, but I was able to find Zacian for game. They had a Armarouge, which, you know, had the ability turned on, so it had like 340, but I had a Zacian with 10 energy to clean up the game. Very close. I missed game with Screamtail. I mewed and missed Super Rod, but I was able to find the other line to finish off the game. So very, very close. Game 1, then game 2, I set up pretty well. They didn't have a great setup. They had a Trinity charge turn 2 after going first, as opposed to Trinity Nova because they missed Arceus. So quite good for us there, and was able to get that. So 801 heading into day 2, feeling very, very good. And I knew I was going to be playing, in all likelihood, Entei Iron Valiant that went 9-0 in day 1. And I was kind of concerned, but game 1, they didn't set up great. I was able to capitalize on that. Game 2, I got a pretty good setup. They got a decent setup as well. I was able to Mirage Step. Moonlit Hill actually ended up being a card that I could use if they spread damage all over the field. I can Moonlit Hill heal off. I actually never got to that point. I actually never needed it. I had a critical play in the game where I knew that Medicham was a threat, and I was able to Arcana into an energy, and I actually made a little mistake. I then I forgot that I forgot in this game that Magma Basin did 20 to the Entei. It was early. I didn't sleep a ton the night before. I got decent sleep, but not great sleep. And I accidentally attached an extra energy. So I damaged myself an extra time when I didn't need to knock out the Entei. Mistakes happen. This was, I think, my only blunder kind of the tournament. That was pretty bad. And I got punished by it because they were able to Medicham. If I hadn't done that, the game would not have been close, I think. But I was still able to win. I was able to win, I think, with an Iono to 1 Zacian KO. I knew that, I assumed they didn't have any other Enteis as well to finish off the game. So I was able to barely get that one. Really, really close. Iono just saved me. But I don't think it should have been that close. I think I just made a mistake and forgot the 20 on the Entei existed, meaning I would need 1 less energy. So, you know, kind of is what it is. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. I still got the game. So anyways, next up, James Cox ended up getting top 8 as well. Great content creator, very solid Pokemon player as well. Definitely sees plenty of success in regionals and stuff like that. Got top 4 at Worlds in 2022. I actually lost to them in my win into top 8 at Worlds in 2022. They were my winning in. So we have a pretty decent history of playing against each other in big games. Game 1, I get absolutely ran over. They're playing double Avery. The matchup's egregious. If they have double Avery and Cresselia, it's not a good matchup. I get ran over game 1. Game 2, I'm able to win. They don't set up very well. And then game 3, just is not able to finish. It's just the Gardevoir mirror. Like 25-30 minute game 1, 10-15 minute game 2, just not enough time to finish game 3. We just kind of agreed that, and I took the tie. So 902, feeling pretty good. Going up against Lost Zone Radiant Charizard here with Roaring Moon. I actually got pretty much the same setup I did versus Adelson, just, you know, using all 1-prizers, Arcanas over and over again. I actually don't know if this is 100% the correct route. I actually did not put a whole lot of time into this matchup, so my experience versus Radiant Charizard was very limited. And the other route that you can take is just hit with Gardevoir EX and Iono and just say you can't get Roaring Moon. And if they get Roaring Moon, you just respond with Arcana and the game accelerates, which is not good for them. So I think that there are 2 routes. You can just go Arcana Reversal and that's it. Try not to bench any EXs because I counter catch a Roaring Moon, or you can you know, go the EX route. I prized an Iono in this game, which ended up losing me the game. I wasn't able to Iono on the last turn of the game. Iono them to 2 into Charizard Mirage Gates, which was able to get them down to 1 prize, and they won the game the next turn with Boss because I wasn't able to Iono them. So I got very unlucky actually in game 1. I probably in most circumstances would have been able to hold on to this, but Steven played well. A nice person. I've played them before. Played them all the way back in Warsaw Regionals 2022. Was able to win there, and then they got me like this time, but they actually ended up getting top 4. So took my first loss. Definitely could have played better. Game 2 was never able to finish. I just got 1-0'd. I kind of realized time was running out, was not gonna have a chance to take all 6 prizes. I wasn't setting up very well either, and I just conceded. So 9-1-2, still feeling pretty good going against Tobias, not sure exactly how you pronounce that. Some of these European names, they're pronounced differently, so I apologize. Playing Gardevoir. This was the longest game I might have ever played. We played about a 43 or 44 minute game. One, admittedly, they did not play incredibly fast, so with the Gardevoir mirror match, it just ended up being one prize. We're, you know, drawing 5, 10, you know, cards a turn. Went really long. I was able to get them with Turo. I was able to Turo my EX and hold on to the prize lead just enough, and was able to secure that game somehow. And then game 2, there was like, I don't know, 6-7 minutes left. I didn't brick. Game just tied. 10-1-2. Moving on versus Jamie, another Gardevoir. They've had quite a solid year as well, performing pretty decently in other European events. They've been playing Gardevoir for the past couple events. I think they got top 32 at Stuttgart or something. They've been playing well though. Ended up playing them. I lost game 1, got pretty unlucky. I Iono'd them, and they hit off 1 Refinement, 1 Arcana, and I think the 2 cards they hit, Counter Catcher, Reversal, Arcana, to win the game. It was quite unfortunate. I thought I had a good shot of winning that game. Then game 2, they didn't set up great, and I was able to capitalize. Kind of similar versus James, where I lost game 1, then game 2, they didn't set up great, and then game 3 just never finished. We just pretty much agreed to tie. There was like, I think 5-6 minutes left. So, and then round 15, I played against Arnie. Arnie decided to scoop me in. It actually, in some ways, makes sense for this to happen if you think about it a little bit more. Yes. This was pretty much they had already beat Rowan this tournament, and they also teched Double Lost City. So the matchup was actually not very good for Gardevoir. If they have Double Lost City, it's still quite scary for us, and it was Fusion Mew. And also, they wanted to lock out any potential Roaring Moon or Charizard that could have made it into top cut. So they had that luxury to, you know, scoop me in or ID. I could have just ID'd and I still would have got top 8. So I was locked pretty much regardless here, because Arnie didn't really see a reason to play it out because he was already locked first seed, so it just didn't matter. So Arnie's a good friend of mine as well. Very solid player, and ended up getting top 8. And then moving on, I'm 11-1-3 after that, going up against the eventual second place finisher of this tournament, Goldango. Game 1, I actually won the coin flip. This matchup's very close. They have, I believe, double Avery, and they also have cross switcher canceling Cologne Palkia, so it's close. Game 1, I am able to win the coin flip, which is huge. I think you're favored if you win the coin flip. And I started Jirachi. I top decked Ralts, bench Ralts, attached to Ralts, pass. They go set up. I think they hit double VIP pass. Very good setup. They pass. So this is the big turn. If I can just announce Mirage Step plus bench Manaphy, should be okay. It's pretty unlikely they can cross switch or canceling Clone me turn 2. I go draw. I attach, I believe, to Jirachi, and I Iono. I look at my hand, and it is terrible. There is no Ralts, so I can't even mention other Ralts. So if they KO my only Ralts, I just have nothing. There is no way to get Mirage Step. There's absolutely nothing. And I pass, and then they go cross switcher KO, and I lose the game instantly. So, yeah, was not good. was not good. I kind of clawed my way back in game 1, kind of gave myself a route potentially, but they were able to find the cards that they needed. I just fell way too far behind. Game 2, very good for me. Was able to get Mirage Step up. What you want to do in that matchup is when you KO, the biggest issue with Goldango versus Gardevoir is that it has a quite low HP, so Gardevoir needs 1 less energy to reach that knockout threshold. So what I was able to do was I was able to go Zacian with 6 energies, which put 120 on it, which means it had 100 HP left, right? Which means Greninja can't knock it out. And then I manually attached for turn. So I got the 7 energy to be able to KO the Goldango, and I also kept it out of Radiant Greninja range, and that was pretty much able to checkmate them. Game 3, they get an incredible setup going first. They get like double or triple VIP pass raw, which is wild. And I get Mirage Step up. I kind of stabilize. They do hit me with cross switcher canceling Cologne. The biggest problem was I did not get energies in the discard pile early. I was able to get the Mirage Step off. I just was not able to get anything else going. So start was pretty okay. Just no energy in the discard pile. Was not able to counter catcher and get the KO on a Goldango or a Palkia, which unfortunately caused my board state to fall apart. they set up perfectly and were able to get me there. Match was very close, largely dependent on the coin flip, but was not able to get there, but that's okay. Top 8 at one of the biggest European events, regionals of all time. Pretty cool. If you have any questions about my Gardevoir list, the link will be in the description as well. If you're looking to improve your game, I do offer coaching on Manaphy. Link will be in the description there as well. And yeah, no, I'll be getting back to more daily content, or weekly, hopefully a couple times a week. I'll get YouTube videos out. Been trying to fix my schedule with all this travel, so I do apologize for stagnant content. But anyways, thanks so much for all the support as always. I appreciate it. And yeah, this is Smart TCG, and I'll speak with you again soon. Peace out.